This question is annoying because it's very difficult to understand what they're even trying to say. All of these wrong answers just kind of confuse things. So my advice is to chop this question into two questions, right? We really have a choice between the comics and the superheroes and whether or not those things need apostrophes. So if you look at the comics piece first, you probably realize that it does need an apostrophe. So that would get rid of C, right? It's DC Comics superheroes. They own the superheroes. They wrote them. They made them. So then you might be like, okay, well, is it comics with an S before or after the apostrophe? I forget that rule. Yeah, maybe you do. Some of you will see it and know what it is because they use the name DC Comics in other places in this passage. You can just go and check for consistency. But let's pretend you're just totally confused by it. Remember, we have this other thing that we can test, right? So if we're confused by whether or not comics is singular or plural, we can ask whether or not superheroes gets an apostrophe or doesn't. Well, the superheroes don't own anything. And that is what an apostrophe does. It shows ownership or possession. It's not that the superheroes own the line, possess the line. They are the line. It's a line of superheroes. So these apostrophes are wrong. We don't need them. So that tells us that D must be right. And okay, now I see that DC Comics gets an apostrophe after because the name of the thing is DC Comics, not DC Comic. So that's what we do when we have a plural thing with an S at the end. We just put the apostrophe. Some people ask this question. I'm just going to preempt it. You could also put another S here. That rule in English is not hard and set, meaning it's kind of a personal choice whether when something ends in S and you need an apostrophe, some people put the extra S afterwards. Some people do not. And you can go back and forth on it. There are different ways of doing it. But the point is the SAT can't test that rule like that because there's no hard and fast rule. It's up for debate. So what they're always going to do when it looks like they're testing that is they're going to put something else in the question that you have to use to kind of figure out what's going on. So if you were deciding between, let's say, this or this, you would need to look elsewhere in the choice to say, okay, well, I can't make that decision. It must be something else. At least I've never seen a question like that before. There's always times where they might try something new, but historically speaking, apostrophes are less about the rule with the S's and more about does it need an apostrophe at all? So that's the question that you should start. Is it a possessive or is it just a normal plural noun? That's what you should start asking yourself.